Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ultimate Job Search and Career Podcast. I am Bill, the company's expert, and today we're going to talk about salary and salary negotiation. Specifically, I'm going to answer a question I received from somebody called The Hawk. And The Hawk says, so what do I say if they give a number and they will not negotiate from the number? That's an excellent question. You're not the only one to be in this situation. In fact, many people are. So let's get into it. Listen, The Hawk. First thing is, they don't give compensation for free. They will try and resist. In the same way that you want more, they want to give you less. The less they give you, the better they look, personally. So they're going to try and hold out. Now, the other thing is that if they believe that you have no other options, they're going to stick to their guns. They're not going to budge. And there's two reasons why they could be sticking to their guns and not budging on a number. Number one, they can't actually offer you any more. They don't have that power. Or two, they do have the power, but they're intentionally playing hardball because they figure that you will accept it for that lower number. Okay? Now, we're going to proceed assuming that it's the latter, that they can pay you more. They do have the power to pay you more. They are just unwilling because they figure that they'll be able to get you for this number. Okay. Now, here's the deal. The way negotiation works is, and I've said this many, many times, a lot of you guys that listen to my channel, you know I say this a lot. Negotiation is not persuasion. Those are two different things. Okay, so the purpose of negotiation is not to convince them that they should pay you more. Okay, that's not what it's about. Negotiation is about knowing yourself, knowing what makes sense for you to do in various different situations. Okay, so for example, if they were unable to budge on this number, what makes sense for you to do? Would it still be within your best interest to take the job? That's a question you have to answer first. Secondly, if they did increase the number, okay, to a certain other number, would that make sense for you to take the job? Okay, you have to answer that, right? If you don't get the number that you're looking for, you probably have in your head a number that would be your goal. It would be nice to get this number, right? Now, if you don't get that, do you have any alternatives besides unemployment? That's another question you have to answer. And the way this works is that the more options you have, the more power you have. Because if you have, say, an alternate job offer in your hand that pays a little bit less, you could say, look, it doesn't make any sense for me to take a number under this. You know, honestly, if you're not willing to go any higher than this, then I'm sorry. I withdraw my application. Goodbye, right? You basically are willing to walk out, right? Now, if they don't feel that you're worth it and they can't offer you any more, then that's where it ends, okay? And it's actually a good thing. You don't get into a job where you're working for less money than would make sense for you, right? The problem is that a lot of people, they only have one option, and the option is the job in question. Okay, if you're going through a job interview process with a company and you're engaged in salary negotiation, and unbeknownst to them, your only two options are to take whatever number they give you or be unemployed, that doesn't really give you much power. Okay, unfortunately, it means that you have to accept whatever number they're willing to pay you, and you have no influence, no ability to improve that situation. Okay. So the key to this is having options, right? Now, it's really not possible to force somebody's hand if they just don't want to pay you that much money, okay? If they are bluffing, then you have an option, and the option is to call their bluff, okay? So if they say, we're offering you this much money, we are not going to increase this offer, take it or leave it, and you've decided that honestly, this number doesn't make sense for you to accept, in that case, you can bluff, you can walk away. And you're hoping that that will convince them to give you a higher number because you have demonstrated that you're unwilling to accept the number. Okay. You're not saying you're not going to accept it. You've demonstrated you're not going to accept it. You've gotten up and walked away. Okay. Now, if they were bluffing, that would be the point when they would say, wait. Okay. Come back. Let's talk about this some more. And they're willing to increase that number. If it's not a bluff and they honestly were not willing to pay you anymore, then that's where it ends. Okay? So before you do something like that, and this is my point, before you get up and walk away, you have to know what makes sense for you to take and what doesn't make sense for you to take. Okay? The only way to force someone's hand is to call their bluff. And obviously that's risky. But what you do is you do preparation before you do that. You get yourself some other options. You get interviews with other companies. You get alternate job offers. Maybe you get an offer for a part-time job or a contract work, something like that. So you have alternatives. And then you fully analyze your situation. You decide what makes sense for you to take it and what doesn't make sense for you to take it. What number would that be? And if they can't pay it, then it's clear what you have to do. You walk away and take a better option. Okay? That's what negotiation is about. Okay? This is the thing. A lot of people walk into this thinking that negotiation is persuasion. Then they whine and they basically say, I'll be your best friend if you give me more money. And they say, no, this is what it pays. Take it or leave it. And that usually is a bluff. But they know what they're doing. They know that if you are powerless to force their hand, you'll just accept it. I'm not saying that's a good strategy from the perspective of HR, but it's what we see a lot. Okay? So that's kind of the situation. That's how you get through these situations. Okay? Number one, know your own position and what you should do under different circumstances. Number two, do everything in your power to get alternate options. So if you do walk away, you know you can walk away at a certain point because the alternative option makes sense at that point. Okay? And that's the secret to negotiation. It doesn't depend on persuading anybody. It's about knowing what you'll do and trying to increase your competitive position in the discussion. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's something that the Hawk can get on board with. That's an awesome name, by the way. It reminds me of a British comedy called Blackadder. They had multiple seasons of it, and somewhere along the line there was a character called the Hawk, and he was as cool as his name sounds. So thank you very much for listening. You guys are awesome. Hope you'll join me on the next episode of the Ultimate Job Search and Career Podcast. Take care.